Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
So, semua dah ada ke?
Assalamualaikum. I think all here except for Anis Wardati.
The presenter.
No, she's not the presenter.
Oh, okay. Can you give me like 2 minutes sekejap eh? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Something. Okay. Okay, kita boleh start kot?
Alright, Doctor.
Okay, boleh?
I think all of the members are here now, Doctor.
Okay, good. So, boleh Clark. Jap eh. Siapa presenter? Siapa Clark? Clark ke? Just sebut. Siapa yang akan Clark?
Me.
Okay. Sekejap eh. Okay, dia nak you guys nak team cardio kan? Team cardio kan? Okay lah. Okay, let me give you the stem eh. Okay. Okay. I'm Ali. Okay, I'm Ali. You are a house officer in General Ward Pediatric IIUM. A father, a child was brought. Amin, a 1-month-old boy. Bosan 1 month. Okay, Amin, a 2-year-old boy was brought to hospital with, as noted by the father, bluish discoloration of the mouth while playing with their siblings. Okay. Please, Clark, Encik Ali, Amin's father, to come out with your differential working diagnosis and discuss the management. Okay lah. Okay, faham kan? Okay, do you understand?
Yes, Doctor.
Nak fikir dulu ke atau nak start terus?
Boleh kot, Doktor.
Okay, good. Okay, start.
Okay, so
Seorang timer. Kena ada seorang timer. 20 minutes.
I'll time, Doctor. For 20 minutes, Doctor.
20 minutes lah. Lesser better. Okay.
Lesser. Oh.
Okay, tapi 15 minutes you bagi warning lah, 15 minutes.
Okay, alright. Okay, Doctor.
Okay, good answer. Start.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I'm Dr. Anissa. So, sir, may I ask several questions regarding your child health?
Okay, yes.
Hello. Okay. So, you see that your child having bluish discoloration at the mouth while playing. Can you explain more about the symptom? Like when it happened,
Okay, actually,
and the duration.
Actually, it happens yesterday. I just came back from work and then I noted Amin is playing with his older brother. They're playing hide and seek. And then I noted Amin was not active. He just lying on the floor and he looks blue. I'm not sure why, but he just looked blue. So I become very scared. So I just brought him straight to the hospital today. No, last night.
Oh, last night means it happened yesterday and you bring it last night.
It's happened at about 7 p.m. So we pray Maghrib, then after we pray Maghrib, then we come to hospital straight.
Okay, before that, is there any SIM history like this? Like bluish discoloration?
Actually, my wife did mention few times before, but it's not major, like I for kids like 2 years old kids have like this bluish discoloration when they cry, but a few occasions, I think at least 3 to 4 times, that I mean look blue while crying.
Do you notice since when this happened? Like what the first presentation?
I think since birthday. That's clear tak?
Putus.
Saya guna internet hospital ni. Tengok nanti sebenarnya. Sekejap eh. Sekejap saya turn internet sendiri lah. Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay. Sorry lah. Okay, boleh sambung.
Okay. Since when did you notice this symptom? Like since birth or?
No, actually I just noticed since his first birthday, that's when he start to walk. Since then he start, maybe because after he become active, he started to show this bluish discoloration.
About the frequency, did this only happen during vigorous activity like walking or how is it? And I mean that per month, how much per month?
Okay, how many times?
How many times? Yeah.
I think maybe about once per month. I would say once per month in the last, I think 2-3 months.
So it become more frequent for the last 2 to 3 months, right?
Exactly. It has become more frequent. It was, we didn't actually notice, but now my wife keep on complaining. We know she's a housewife, so she knows better.
Okay. Apart from that, any other complaint beside the bluish discolorations?
I think no, actually. I think my wife, I mean, I think being is a very tough guy. He really fell ill. He doesn't look tired. He always go time to time. So I think no, I think that's all. Could it be something serious, doctor?
Yeah, I have to ask more for that. can I know for the bluish discoloration before that you say that it was less severe, means it because is it just appear at the mouth or currently the whole body become bluish or what
Mm,
about the severity?
I think now it's longer. Last time,
Um,
it did happen, but usually I think Amin just relax a bit and then it's gone. But yesterday is very worrying, doctor. I don't know. I was very scared because he was deeply blue and he was lying still like he's going to die. He is going to die. But then what we did, I just hug him and then give a tap at the back. I think it lasts about 10 minutes. Then only he start to cry and become more alert. I'm really worried, doctor. Is it something serious?
yeah, it looks serious because your child is not alert during that time. But then after you hug him, is it he become better after that, and then you bring it to hospital?
Yes, I bring him because after he looked better, so we pray Maghrib and then I brought him to hospital.
Is there any loss of consciousness at that time?
What do you mean loss of consciousness?
That uh, like fainting?
No, he still look around and I mean when I talk to him he did respond but he looks very tired.
Okay.
Could be like a fitting like that.
Fainting. Oh.
Is it a
Uh,
fitting or what you call it seizure?
do you notice any movement? Any like movement on like what we call on the extremity?
Mm,
Like
no, he just lie flat. Looks tired.
how about the eye? Any up
The
rolling
eye.
or
You mean look upwards?
up
The
rolling
eye the eye
eye?
looks okay. He looks around like asking for attention.
Okay, okay. And then you bring it. Okay, okay. Before that, I want to ask: is there any history of like difficulty in feeding?
No, no issues.
He's,
He's still breastfed. He's
he eat
still
he
breastfeeding.
eat. Oh,
But that's
about
not
additional
concerned.
food and
He eats
hmm?
everything. He eats. I mean, he's a good eater lah. He eats everything. No concern about
Oh,
that.
no problem about feeding like chuck like uh during feeding he having any breathlessness
No.
or interrupted feeding, like he has to stop for about after several minutes and then he had to stop and then start again with the feeding.
Not really. I think okay. My wife had never complained about that.
Okay. About the growth, you say that you have other child, right?
Yes, yes.
The sibling, the brother. So about the growth, and did you notice that your child Ali is a little bit small or compared to his brother?
Not really. Actually, he's a big guy. I think
Mm.
compared to his elder brother and sisters, I think he's quite big guy.
You during the checkup, regular checkup at the clinic, there's no complaint about the growth. Means the
No,
growth is
this one.
okay.
Because it's okay.
Okay. During the event last night, is there any you feel any cold periphery? Means that the hand become cold.
Yes. He looks a bit pale, a bit pale, and quite cold. That's made me very scared.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't know what to do because I'm really scared of losing him. Because I've lost a child before, so I don't want it
Oh,
to happen again.
may I know what is the reason of your losing child before?
Mm, What's the reason? Actually, I'm not actually sure what the reason is because. Sekejap.
Did
Uh, no, actually,
did he has similar perspective with Ali or different?
no, actually, that's my first child because I'm still young at that time. Actually, he was born with, doctor said, is a syndrome, Edward or something. That's what he said. I think he mentioned Edward syndrome, but he didn't survive long. He only survived for I think few hours. So we have it. But I've got to cuddle him before he passed away. So I don't want the same thing happen to Amin.
Okay. Okay, I'm very sorry to hear that. Okay. Apart from that, do you notice that apart from that, do you notice that he having any easy fatiguability during playing? I mean, easily fatigue during playing with your brother before this.
Not really. He's quite
Apart
active.
from the blues discoloration.
No, he's very active. He's a very active guy. There's nothing else concern me about him except for this episode of become blue.
Is there any breathlessness during the event?
No.
No. Okay.
Doesn't look breathless. Just look tired.
Did your child having any like frequent respiratory infection like coughing, like per month having once at least one?
Yeah, because no, actually not really. I think maybe every 2-3 months he's got cough and runny nose. I think because of the siblings. They went to school, so they infect. I mean they give him like illness. No, he's been very well. Okay, Nisa okay tak? Keputus. Dengar Nisa?
Hello. Regarding the runniness and also the cough, did you need to seek medical attention or you treat it?
No, I just give him water and then he become well later.
No need for antibiotic or other medication? Or apart from that, do you notice that your child having any edema of the extremity? Like
What do you mean edema? I don't understand.
we call and like swelling. I mean swelling the extremity, like the
You mean the
face, the hand,
hand? Oh no
the
no
leg.
no.
Yeah,
No. He's always chubby, because he is quite a chubby guy, but it's not swelling or anything.
Any history of headache, bleeding through the nose?
No.
No. About the fellow, did you notice it during only this event or during he doing a vigorous activity or like normal state? He also having this pill.
No, just pale. I think just pale. I mean just yesterday. Never had this pale.
Okay. Any bleeding you notice? Like any red petechiae, any bruises? Sorry, any bruises?
No. Not really.
or bleeding blood in the during defecation,
Hmm.
stool in the blood. You notice?
No.
Okay. Mm, okay. Oh, before that, I want to know if your child having any underlying problem prior to this.
Um, my boy, he was born premature. I think at 36 week. But otherwise, he's been very well. No, never been admitted to hospital. This first time we stepped to hospital.
Uh, may I know the reason of the prematurity? Yes.
I'm not sure actually. I think maybe infection. My wife got like urine infection, something like that.
Oh, during that
That's what
time.
the doctor said.
And then, is it he delivered through normal or cesarean?
No, it's a normal delivery.
Oh.
It's a straightforward.
How about
It
the
just
weight? Oh,
the weight was 2.6, I think.
2.6. So no need for any ICU admission.
No need.
Oh. Is there any jaundice prior to, after that?
No, he's been well. He's been well.
No
Never.
complication.
None of my children need, like the phototherapy.
You know.
Mm.
Okay. During the pregnancy, did your wife having any like complication or any problems
Not
like
really.
diabetes or not really?
No.
Apart from the UTI impact, the urinary infection, no other infection.
No other problem.
No. Okay.
No diabetes, no hypertension, nothing.
Okay. No admission. Okay. Regarding the feeding, your child is still breastfed up until now.
Yes.
When did you start weaning? Like giving the
6 months old.
oh.
6 months.
Currently, how many times that he breastfed per day?
Usually during sleep. When he want to sleep, he will get to his mother and start breastfeeding.
Did you notice how much? How many times?
Maybe 2-3
And
times
how
a
long
day.
the breast? How long?
Usually until he fell asleep at about 10 minutes. I would say 10 minutes. It's not the main thing, it's just, I think he just want to cuddle, want to be cuddled, want to be loved. Like, babies.
And did he start on the solid food right now? Or did he start on solid food?
You mean what
Oh,
things?
means that like rice,
Rice. Oh, okay.
chicken, meat.
Yeah, he takes everything. He takes, this boy, he takes everything. It's like garbage. He takes everything.
How do you eat per day? Like
Mm,
3 times per day for the heavy meals?
Usually he eats with us, so we eat lunch, dinner, breakfast, and then in between he's got snacking. He loves cheese, so we took cheese from the fridge himself.
Did he is he a picky eater? Like
No, he eat
doesn't want
everything,
to eat
everything,
vegetables. Oh, okay.
everything under the sun,
Including vegetable.
including vegetables.
Okay. For developmental, up until now, did you notice any problem with his development?
No, I don't have any concern. Similar to the other siblings. Even he
Means
walks at 1 year old. He talks a lot. I don't have any concern about it at all. Besides of the bluish, I don't know what you call it, the blue color baby.
okay. How about the social? Did he communicate well with the other siblings?
He talks a lot. He play a lot. He's a very active boy, boisterous.
Can do like can eat by himself.
Yes, he can eat.
Okay.
He eat by himself. Of course, we fed him, but he do eat by himself. Like like biscuits, bread, things like that.
I say that he talk a lot. Like is it that he talk like a full phrase or like a full sentence?
No, he talk like no words. Like susu, 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 air, nak ice cream, nak chocolate. No, like kids, no.
Okay. Currently he can walk and also running, right?
Yes, he can walk, he can
Yeah.
run, he can kick ball.
For the did your son receive full vaccination up until now? Any miss of vaccination?
No, we go to clinic every month. Because my wife is a housewife, so she brought him to clinic.
Okay. May I know? Can you tell me more about your family?
My family, there's 6 of us. Me, my wife, and 4 children. Yeah, I lost one. So there should be 7 lah, 7 of us. Yeah, we live in a decent house, 2-story terrace. I've got a quite stable work at the moment. I work with a government, with a municipal, I call it, with a pejabat daerah. I think we've got quite stable life. I'm happy with my life now.
Can you tell me more about your one by one about your child?
My first child, if I mention, he passed away when at birth. Second is 8 years old, and actually, sorry, 10 years old now, 10 years old girl. And then third is 7 years old now, my boy. And then the other boy is 6-year-old. And then I've got another girl, 4-year-old, and last is Amin lah, the fifth one. I mean, it's almost
you got 5 children.
There's one,
right.
one passed away.
Oh, the one is the 10 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, 4 years old, and 2 years old.
And Amin,
Right? So you have
5.
So the 6 years old is girl or boy?
It's a girl. 6-year-old is a boy, and then the 4-year-old is a girl.
Okay. All of them are well now? Any problem with the health?
No, they are all well. I am blessed with them.
Similar presentation to Alwi?
No.
How about your health? Do you have any health concern?
I've got a lot. I've got asthma. I've got allergic rhinitis. Now I keep on rubbing my nose. I've got everything, but I don't have heart problem. That's good. And I'm really scared of heart problem. You know, nowadays people dying because heart problem.
Yeah, it's quite.
Is Amin got heart problem? Does Amin got heart problem, or is it heart problem?
Up until now, from what I have heard, it looked like a cardiac problems. But I have to do several tests to know more about it. So about your wife, do you have any?
Sorry to intervene. Now it's 25 minutes already.
Good.
One more. Two questions.
Okay, 2 questions.
Is there any abdominal distension? Means that bloating abdominal?
No.
Ali have any abdominal distension?
No, he's a bit, he's you call Boloy, but no, it's not major.
Any traveling history? Any recent traveling history?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, so I give you 5 minutes. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes to prepare, and everyone to prepare your comments. Okay, so the format for commenting is what went well. So what went well, at least 2 to 3. What went well, what went not so well, and what can be done better. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, you ready?
Okay. My patient Ali, 2 years old, presented to the emergency department with bluish discoloration on mouth while playing with his sibling uh, on the on the night of the admission. So he was apparently well until on the night of admission where his mother noticed that there is bluish discoloration while playing with his siblings. Um, and it happened for 10 minutes. This is not the first presentation whereby he had the similar presentation starting at 1 year old, where he started to being active and walking. And there also similar history when he was crying, and it's happened for about once in the 2 to 3 months. He was also during that time he was also looked inactive and fatigued and did not respond well. And only after 10 minutes being relaxed, he was able to respond. But there was no loss of consciousness. There was also presentation of cool peripheries and pallor. Otherwise, there was no poor feeding, stunted growth, easily fatigability or breathlessness. There was no also loss of consciousness or seizure. There was also no any bleeding tendency. Okay. Uh, Upon further questioning, he did complain of frequent upper respiratory tract of runny nose and cough for about uh, every 2 to 3 months once. However, there was no admission and no medication needed. There was no symptom of heart failure such as edema or abdominal distension. There was also no headache or epistaxis. He was born prematurely at 36 weeks. Due to his father believed due to the UTI infection. However, born via spontaneous vaginal delivery with 2.6 kilograms, which is normal weight. And then no complication post-delivery. And there was also no complication, apart from the UTI, no complication during antenatally. Okay. There was also no previous history of admission or any drug consumed before. He was breastfed since birth and had a weaning at the 6 month old, and currently still breastfed plus having additional meals. So he was having breastfed around 3 times per day for a duration of 10 minutes per session, and having 3 time meals, heavy meals, and not a picky eater. He was able to for developmental, he was able to walk and walking like other persons, can talk several words, and don't can communicate well with his siblings and eat well. Means that he can eat by himself. The vaccination is up to his age, and for family history, his parents is a Welsh. His father works at the pejabat kesihatan and who's having asthma and also allergic rhinitis. However, no any other cardiac disease. His mother is a housewife, having no underlying disease. He is the last out of 4 siblings. The first is the 7 years old, 6 and 4 years old. All of them are well with no other heart problem and no cardiac problem in the family, except for the firstborn, which died at birth, which was believed due to the Edward syndrome. They live in the decent house of the story, decent house with decent salary, I think. That's all. So for summary, Ali, 2 years old, presented with bluish discoloration while playing on the night of the admission. It was associated with inactiveness, fatigue, cool periphery, and pallor. Otherwise, there was no history of poor feeding, stunted growth, easily fatigability, breathlessness, no loss of consciousness, no seizure, no history of bleeding. And he is a premature born. I think that's all. Actually, I should ask about more progression on at the ED and also the social history, but there's not enough time.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. So that's all really. Okay, so let's start. So we're going to give feedback on the clerking itself, and then we're going to give feedback on the presentation. But bear with me. I've got one question. In your curriculum, because I'm not familiar yet with the curriculum. So in your curriculum, you've got like station assessment on clerking. For example, have you got like a OSCE or like a short case station where you have to clerk a simulated patient atau you have to clerk real patient and your communication skill will be assessed? Ada ke?
I think for that one is for
No.
the juniors.
Yes.
They have men or ski, whereby they would clerk patient for a few minutes and then they will be assessed. But for us, we don't only have long case and short case.
Showcase tak ada communication skill lah.
Short case, we don't clerk. Usually it's like physical examination, eliciting physical examination punya findings, and then discuss from that.
Okay. So in terms of history tu more to the content lah kan yang you have to assess. But I think history skills of communication skills have to be assessed. Even houseman MO have to regularly be assessed in terms of communication skill. Because in long case you're not going to be, no one will observe you taking history, right? In long case. Tu lah. Okay lah, tak apa. So if that's the case, so I'm not sure whether is it useful to actually to give feedback on the history taking skills. Do you think it useful or you just want to proceed with the presentation?
Useful.
Is it useful?
Okay. Kita try whether
Yeah, you
it's
can
useful
share
or not.
about that.
Okay, so start dengan, let me have the list. Okay, so kita start dengan Zafira. So what went well about the clerking?
Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Satu
So,
je, you bagi satu, setiap orang bagi satu je.
Satu advantage, satu disadvantage dengan satu ni je doktor.
Tak, kita start dengan what went well. So apa yang bagus
what went
pasal dia punya clerking skills ataupun the clerking to itself, apa yang bagus? Bagi satu je, ni kita akan rotate
Okay.
jalan.
So I think what is good in Anissa for her presentation skills is he anticipate the concerns of the parents when macam tadi yang family history ada Edwards tu, so she macam say sorry to hear that like that lah. I think it's okay. Macam
Good. So she shows sympathy kan? She showed sympathy. Okay. Empathy lah. We don't call it sympathy. We call it empathy. Okay, good. Okay. Aklan?
Sorry. So the good point would be that she started with open-ended, and then later on she went into close-ended. For example, previously she asked about, is there any other symptoms? So when the father was not really being specific about that, then she started asking about specific symptoms of heart failures and also symptoms of complication.
Good. Okay, next is Anis Wardati.
Okay, so actually my point is really same lah in terms of Anissa is very attentive to the parents and sympathy, and also she whenever the father asks a question, she doesn't, she answer lah the question instead of apa, macam instead of tak jawab ke macam ni. Dia jawab dulu and then dia proceed dengan classroom juga.
Okay. So dia tak ignore kan? Dia tak ignore. So she did attempt to show some empathy and show some understanding lah. Just good. Okay. Just
I think she did well, especially because she addressed the father's punya concern. She was like, for example, when the father kept on asking about the severity of the case, she tried to address it by clerking more to get a better history. So she was not being dismissive lah.
Good. Okay, anything else yang apart from these 3-4 points, ada anything else? Any points that you think good? Semua ada. I want to add one lah. I rasa she tries to cover all components of history taking. She attempted lah. She attempted, I mean, all the history presenting complaint, all the family history, development, diet history, which is good lah, good attempt. Okay, so what can be done better? Solhi, what is not so well?
What can be improved from her is that she jargon like edema, rolling of eyeballs, and loss of consciousness. So as a doctor, we need to stoop down to patient level, layman, and we need to use layman language as much as possible because they don't understand it. Unless we're talking to people with medical background, then it makes our job easier.
Okay, good. Lagi, Syamimi.
Anissa did well, but however in certain complaints such as shortness of breath and breathlessness, Anissa repeat the question twice for shortness of breath. So when we repeat the question, we tend to take more time. So I suggest that we should not repeat the same question.
Good. Okay, agree. Okay, lagi Niswa Azlin.
Yes, Doctor. For me, Anissa also did well, but I just would like to add that Anissa can actually ask the underlying medical illnesses earlier because it actually gives us clue whether is it the patient had any asthma or any congenital heart disease before, so that it can actually narrow down our provisional diagnosis later.
Okay, good. So good tips, good tips. So you can ask earlier the past medical history or underlying medical problems, so you can guide you. Okay, good. Okay. Hazira Suri. Okay, anything else? Anyone want to add any other things that can be done better? Nak tambah satu. I'm not sure whether you introduce yourself or not. You introduce yourself ke tadi? Introduce Okay. So it's good to, sometimes it's good when you starting a conversation kan, it's good to first, I'm not sure, when in my undergrad kan, our introduction is long. Okay. We have to introduce, for example, my name is Alwi, I'm a house officer in this ward. Today I'm going, I believe I've been informed that you are here. Ataupun tak, usually macam ni. Kalau medical student selalu accept macam ni. My name is Alwi. I'm a house officer in this ward. So are you Mr. Ali? Yes. So would you mind if I ask you a few questions about your child Amin? I believe he was admitted last night. You give some introduction to the ni, and everything that we talk here will be kept confidential between us and our medical team. confidentiality we have to stress. Yang tu memang kena stress lah. Okay, kalau tak you memang fail. Tapi I'm not sure kat Malaysia macam mana. Do you have to mention about confidentiality? I'm not sure. You tanyalah. Nanti I tanyalah ada lecturers. So introduction is quite important. It shows that you alert with the question, because in the question I did mention the father's name, the child's name, and you have to use this in your history taking. It shows that you are concerned. Kan, kalau macam if you know the name of the child, then the father will become more open lah, kan? Rather than you kata, oh anak encik, oh you guna nama atau Encik Ali, so dia akan better lah, it's better. Okay, okay, the rest saya rasa sama je. Okay, so what can be done better? Any suggestion of improvement? Start dengan Hazira kan? Hazira tak cakap kan? Hazira Suri. Dengar tak? Bercakap Hazira. Okay. Tak dengar suara. Okay, boleh? Tak ada? Okay, tak apa. Hazira, kalau ada apa-apa, awak type. Okay, pergi kat Akilah. Akilah, what can be done better? What improvement can be done? What sort of suggestion?
So first, I think since patient presented with symptoms of cyanosis, Anissa did well in ruling out or ruling in the maybe her provisional diagnosis was cyanotic congenital heart disease. However, I think since the symptom is cyanosis, we should also give focus to exclude on respiratory causes. So maybe Anissa could ask about fever. Anissa did ask about shortness of breath during the episode, and also history of recurrent chest infection previously to suggest congenital heart disease. However, during this episode of cyanosis, is there any presenting symptom of URTI, rapid breathing, wheezing that could suggest a respiratory infection at this point of time?
Okay, so okay, good. Lagi. Okay, by the way, cyanosis can be caused by a lot of system kan. Even one of the most common symptoms that present with cyanosis is actually neuro kan. So seizure lah. Seizure, you have to ask a lot about seizure. Breast holding spell. Breast holding spell also presented with cyanosis. Breast holding spell lah. Seizure, breast holding spell. And respi and cardio. Yang ni lah. Okay, lagi. Okay, balik atas. Zafira. So, any suggestion?
Okay, I'm not sure. I think it could be better if Anissa can like macam transition between history to history tu macam so after this I would like to ask regarding the birth history, so nanti dia macam bagi ideas to the parents to talk macam ideas lah to the parents to talk about that. Tak adalah macam apa terkejut tiba-tiba tanya suddenly ask about that. I think lah.
That's a good point, because especially in this situation, because Anissa a lot of jumping around kan. Sometimes tanya pasal family history, sometimes tanya pasal diet, and go back to symptoms presenting complaint. So because doesn't matter, I think in your long case situation, because no one care kan, no one actually observe, so doesn't matter the way you ask it. Even in fact, kalau I in your place, kalau in long case, I will ask close question je. I won't be bothered asking any open question if in long case situation lah, because no one will, as long as you've got what information that you need, that's what you want kan. Tapi in real conversation, especially when you, definitely kita akan jumble mumble lah everything, kita akan jump one to another, so it's a good technique to actually start with a clue lah. Okay, now I'm going to ask more about your child feeding habit, atau I'm going to ask more about your child growth, okay, and development. Okay, start like that. Okay, okay, good. Anything else? Anyone? Aklan? Before we move to the presentation itself.
I think the rest are already covered by others.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, doctor.
Oh.
Could I ask, like, in history taking, is it necessary to ask about like syndromes, like maybe because we want to know whether patient had a risk factor for this cardiac abnormality and maybe patient had a Down syndrome or what? In the history, should we ask about it or we just wait for the physical examination?
You have to get most of the information from history, including syndrome. Okay, tapi bear in mind, usually syndrome is easier to ask in the family history, kan? Is there anyone in your family with syndrome atau ni? But in a child, in the patient itself, you can ask. You have to have something in your some ideas lah what kind of syndrome that might associate. So like here is Down syndrome, kan? So what features of Down syndrome? So you boleh tanya. Lah heart problem, kan, usually we think of Down syndrome lah yang paling easy. Ada patient yang dekat rumah and then they're well, so not many syndrome are like this. Okay, syndrome yang associated with heart problem, most of the time they are associated with a lot of skeletal abnormality, ada connective tissue problem, so most of the time they are not well. Okay, unless things like macam Turner, William, Down syndrome ni okay lah, tapi yang D George, they are definitely not well lah. So you can ask the first thing you can ask admission at birth, kan? Admission. Have your child been admitted at birth? You can get clues from previous past hospital admission, and then you can even ask direct question to father, macam tanya, has any doctors concerned about your child appearance, or a child have mentioned anything about your child had other disease macam tu, atau don't patronizing by said syndrome. Syndrome is quite patronizing lah. So you tanya, has your doctor ever mentioned that your child might have any other problems, medical problems? Macam tu. Just macam benda touch sikit lah. And then you boleh tanya lah pasal feeding, ada cleft lip, cleft palate, yang tu boleh tanya. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can ask, ada your child have cleft palate ke, cleft lip ke? Sepatutnya yang tu you can get from history. You can. Tapi usually you kena through clinical examination. Tapi you have to show some attempt untuk to get clue that this is a syndromic child.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, I want to add more. What can be done better? You can show more empathy lah by simple measures. For example, like nodding. The use of word by humming, nodding, but a lot more of like, I understand where you come from, I understand why you feel like this, but do not give false reassurance. Explore concern, expectation and ideas. I think I dah mentioned about this previously. Concern more about the expectation. Macam contoh dia kata, ni heart problem ke doktor? Lepas tu you boleh clarify, you can show more concern by asking, why do you so concerned about heart problem? Is there anything that make you so concerned about heart problem? Macam tu lah. Ataupun so what makes you think this is heart problem? So father kata, oh, I've read about heart problem. People with heart problem, they get this bluish, and then they also get breathlessness. They don't grow. Oh, my children have all this. My child has all these symptoms. It's not growing, isn't it? So they can start. You can ask at the beginning. Whenever patients say any concern, you have to use it. Take opportunity of it lah, to make them give you hints and signs and symptoms. Okay. Okay. Now about the presentation itself. Kita start dengan Solhi. What went well about the presentation?
Sorry, unmute, sorry.
Dengar Suli.
Okay.
Okay, when you about the presentation?
Regarding the presentation, I think the presentation presented well. It's pretty smooth. Okay. I got nothing to comment.
Okay. It's okay. Good, good. Then Shamimi?
I think Anissa did good during her presentation where she present the history from the HOPI, birth history, feeding history, development history, family history, and then Anissa then present about the summary of her presentation in order for us to capture back what she has presented earlier.
Okay, good, good. Okay. Okay, this one. Anything good about the presentation?
I think Anissa had presented well. So now, further comment.
I think that's a good introduction lah. At the beginning, I've clubbed blah 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 blah. That's a good introduction. I think okay lah. I think okay juga. So what went not so well? Azira. Azira, apa cakap Azira? Dengar tak? What went not so well?
Azira, tak dengar Azira. Boleh try, boleh unplug ni ke? Unplug earphone. Cuba, tak ni. Tak dapat lah, sorry. Dengar sikit, dengar sikit. Dengar?
Saya cakap Azira.
Cukup sikit.
Ya.
Tadi dengar suara ayam.
Bunyi ayam yang kuat.
Cuba kau sikit Azira.
Itu dekat kan?
Cuba dekat.
Yes.
Ni dengar tapi sama-sama sikit.
Saya kat lubang laptop ni, lubang speaker.
For every complaint. She explained about the beneficial declaration in details and also about the failure symptoms in details. But I'm not sure whether, and also she presented according to the nice and also but I'm not sure whether she has excluded the other diseases from other systems in the system EU.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Agree. That's true. I think you have to your presentation. When you're presenting your clerking, it should shows to the audience that you are thinking about the working diagnosis, and you are thinking about the differential diagnosis. So for example, you mentioned bleeding tendency. Okay, you have to group all the symptoms, all the presentation, in a way that it shows that you are grouping them into a group lah, a respective group. For example, macam you mention bleeding tendency. To be honest, I'm not sure why do you ask about bleeding tendency. Is it because of pelo ke? So tapi pelo is not associated dengan cyanosis kan. Tapi I mean, you have to group them lah. Especially the negative, the important negative. You cannot just simply say, oh, no runny nose, no cough, no fever, no ill contact. You cannot say like that. You have to, even though it's no, but it has to be in group. so that we know that you are thinking. Okay, especially important negative lah, important negative. And then apa tadi? Okay lah, I rasa okay cukup. Presentation okay. Okay lah. Cuma the summary, I think the summary is also okay. Except for that you, at the end you tambah sikit. Kan you dah buat summary and then you tambah-tambah. That doesn't sound slick lah. Tapi it's okay lah kot. Kalau dia benda yang termiss tak apa. A good way to summarize is actually, especially lah when you already a doctor lah. Macam, especially postgraduates kan. Postgraduates, the way you summarize is, you start, for example like this. You give your ideas, what is your idea, and then you give the supporting evidence from you. For example like this. So you said, I've clubbed blah 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 blah. I've clubbed Amin, a 2-year-old child who was brought by father who presented with cyanosis. Don't use bluish discoloration. When you do summary, you give in a technical form. Okay, it's a technical summary. It's not what the history from father. It's not. You have to use jargon lah. You have to use clinical term. So presented with cyanosis. Okay. Unless if you're not sure what is this, then you say possible cyanosis. Most likely cyanosis. But you know now you are quite certain this is cyanosis. Then presented with cyanosis of possible of cardiac origin. Associated with blah 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 blah. However, macam tu. You sebut je cyanosis possibly cardiac in origin. Together with blah 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 with breathlessness, palo. However, there's no sign of there's no evidence of heart failure from the history. Macam tu. Okay. My other working diagnosis would be blah 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 blah. And you mentioned je terus management. So either you boleh stop kat situ and then let the examiner tanya, tapi usually myself I akan terus. Therefore, my working diagnosis would be first presentation of cyanosis due to cyanotic heart disease. However, my other working diagnosis, however, I would like to rule out other systemic causes of cyanosis, such as other causes of cyanosis, such as neurological causes, like breath holding spell, like seizure, apa lagi? Okay, or respiratory causes of cyanosis, like pulmonary hypertension ke, like infection, chronic, bronchiectasis ke, bronchiolitis obliterans. However, this is unlikely because there's no history that suggests chronic infection, recurrent infection, or child with PID and primary immunodeficiency. Macam tu lah. So you sambung dia terus. Lepas summary, you sambung terus. Because in the question, I dah mention kan, plot this patient to come up with a diagnosis and discuss the management. So I think examiner will be happy lah kalau you just continue. Tapi I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not really sure how it works here. Tapi that's how I was trained. So because the questions already there in the stem, so you just after summary you just sambung. Okay, faham kan? Okay, any other point to add atau things to ask?
Doctor, for 2 years old boy, kalau kita nak assess intellectual disability, then what should we ask?
Okay. Intellectual disability, okay, in children, intellectual disability is contributed by 3 components of your developmental assessment, which is your fine motor, a bit of your fine motor, your speech, and also your speech and language kan? Speech and language satu. Fine motor, speech and language. Dia satu apa?
Social.
Social, yes. That's what, social. Okay, so in order to assess intellectual, okay, you have to ask these 3 questions. Okay, main questions. Okay, kalau you ada ADOS kan, I'm not sure how familiar you guys to developmental assessment tools macam ADOS, Griffith. I rasa you tak familiar. You guys ada posting development kan? Rasa tak ada sini, tak ada developmental specialist. Actually kan, on all the developmental milestone, okay, not all actually contribute to your IQ. For example, by being able to walk at 8 months old, it doesn't mean you got good IQ. Especially gross motor memang tak contribute to your IQ at all, to your intellectual. Contoh macam, even though the child cannot walk at 2 years old, doesn't mean the IQ will be low. Ataupun they walk at 8 months old, doesn't mean the IQ will be high. Tapi for fine motor, some fine motor skills, for example, casting, okay, casting. Sorry, casting dia tak affect ni. Stacking cubes. Stacking cubes will determine your IQ. Okay, a child who develop the skills of stacking cubes earlier, they will have higher IQ compared to those yang delayed in stacking cubes. Tapi contoh wave bye-bye kan, wave bye-bye dia tak contribute to your IQ. So when you are assessing this need knowledge lah, tapi when you are assessing intellectual of the child, you have to ask a bit about the fine motor, a bit about the social, and a bit about the languages. Okay, and this will actually, if it is on par of your developmental age, then you can say this child has normal IQ. You cannot say that this child is intelligent or genius. Tapi kalau dia delay kan, especially the language and also communication and social kan, kalau dia delay, then chances are budak ni memang low IQ lah. Okay. Faham kan? Tu je. That's why kalau you ada anak kan, you ada anak atau anak saudara kan, it's very important to stimulate their communication and language and fine motor. Rather than we focus, because a lot of parents they're focusing on lambat jalan lah, beli walker lah, macam-macam kan untuk berjalan, untuk berlari. But it's actually not as important as you punya communication, you punya social. That's why kalau budak-budak yang ada very high screen time kan, engage dengan very high screen time, more than 2 hours, 3 hours per day, at very young age, chances are dia akan jadi bodoh bila dia besar. So we know this will delay their developmental, their social, and also their communication, and also their punya social and communication and fine motor lah especially will be hindered by screening time. So chances are dia akan ada ni lah, impairment lah, intellectual impairment. Okay, faham kan? So avoid lah bagi dia orang screen before 2 years old. Okay, any other questions? Ada? Rasa tu je, rasa dah cover semua ni. So settle lah kot cluster. Cuma untuk esok kan, okay, untuk seminar esok kita buat pagi tau, tukar pagi saya dah successfully arrange. So kalau buat petang, actually because tomorrow afternoon at lunchtime 12.30 I ada ni, ada meeting pukul 12.30. Rasanya hopefully tak lama lah ada meeting. Maybe by 1:30 boleh habis kot. And then kalau buat petang, kalau kita start pukul 2 pun, ada 4 presentation kan. 4 presentation tu macam banyak je. So rasanya maybe 3 hours kat baru habis. So kalau buat pukul 2, pukul 5 baru habis. And I have to travel back to Kelantan esok. So nak buat awal lah. So kita buat pagi So kita start at 8 tau esok. Start at 8. Okay, hopefully we can finish by latest by 11 or 11:30. And then, cuma the presentation, actually I baru sempat tengok Soul Him presentation je. Yang the chronic diarrhea tu. Sebenarnya siapa yang bagi you this topic ah?
Pada department.
Kenapa dia bagi chronic diarrhea?
Push kot doktor.
Kenapa bukan acute diarrhea? AGE ke atau prolonged
Sebab
diarrhea?
dah cover waktu 3 years ke?
Oh ya ke?
Selalunya
Mungkin
tajuk year
kita
5
tak
dia ambil yang tak cover betul ya.
Oh, okay. Because actually chronic diarrhea is not that common lah, especially in our setting. Tapi boleh lah. Okay kot. Okay lah. So kita present esok. Okay, start pagi pukul 8 eh? Okay, lepas tu apa ni?
Doktor, nak tanya soalan boleh?
Boleh.
Regarding the differential diagnosis for this case, provisional should we put just cyanotic heart disease or kita go like specific like TOF terus ke?
Tak scientific heart.
Oh.
Tapi kalau you quite confident this is TOF and by the usually memang TOF ni lah. Kau datang umur 2 tahun macam ni, well, most likely 99.99% is TOF lah. So just macam most likely TOF. You sebut lah.
And then we can go to the other system like respi.
Respi. And present your differential you present dalam vitamin A, B, C, D tu lah. Vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K lah. So start dengan present in system lah. So cyanosis most likely cardiac in origin. For example, TOF, blah 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 blah. Other differential includes respiratory disease such as blah 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 blah, or neurological disease such as blah 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 blah, or GI disease such as ni. Okay. Some other disease that can also contribute to cyanosis. Maybe hematological condition such as polycythemia, macam tu. But this is very rare in pediatric population, macam tu. Okay.
Sorry, doctor, can I ask a question? Like for example, is there possibility in a case whereby the patient already went surgery to correct the TOF, but then somehow dia macam recur, macam maybe some problem with the surgery ke?
Some surgery can, tapi kalau TOF corrective surgery, sepatutnya tak lah. They can get other complication from operation lah. Contoh, kalau TOF punya operation, complication dia biasanya things like arrhythmia, things like heart failure. They can get ovary pad lah, macam conduit failure. They can have macam tapi in terms of sinus, immediately after surgery they can have, tapi usually kalau corrective surgery tak. Dia kalau palliative surgery dia baru akan ada problem. Contoh macam dia buat BT shunt kan. Contoh patient datang dengan hypersomatic spell, so we create a BT shunt before corrective surgery. Then you boleh dapat okay, patient after BT shunt dia dah not as sinus. They still got a bit of sinuses tapi they are not as sinus. Cuma sometimes after a while dia tiba-tiba dia sinus. They can. Usually because shunt failure lah, obstruction ke thrombosis macam tu. Ataupun dia jadi heart failure. Contoh worsening sinuses because thrombosis kan. Ataupun tu heart failure because over shunting. Then boleh lah, tapi kalau corrective surgery we expect to be okay unless complication of surgery.
Okay, alright. Thank you, doctor.
Doctor, I would like to ask about the differential. Can we, for this patient, can we differential is Eisenmenger syndrome?
Cannot.
Cannot.
Because you have to understand what is Eisenmenger. Children they don't get Eisenmenger. Eisenmenger is a spectrum. Okay, it's the final spectrum of cyanotic heart disease, of pulmonary hypertension. Eisenmenger is pulmonary hypertension. So it is a spectrum. So it's at the end spectrum. Kalau you kata patient ni ada clubbing and then sinus, and that is not Eisenmenger, that is cyanotic heart disease. Eisenmenger ni is a cyanotic heart disease that becomes sinus because of build up pulmonary hypertension, build up pulmonary pressure that exceed the systemic pressure, the left ventricular pressure. So dia jadi left, instead of left to right shunt, dia jadi right to left shunt. So sebab before Eisenmenger dia mesti ada pulmonary hypertension dulu, and then dia mesti ada reverse shunting, Dia shunt mula left to right and then make shunting and then reverse shunting baru jadi Semanga. Semanga pun even with reverse shunting not necessarily you get Semanga. After 1-2 years reverse shunting baru you dapat Semanga. Faham tak? Tu diagnosis of adults je. Ataupun budak besar yang dah palliative lah.
Usually, what years of age yang presented with Asperger?
It depends on
The most
the
youngest. The
Asperger is diagnostic by angiogram. So you kena buat angio, you measure the pulmonary pressure, baru you boleh diagnose Asperger. And depending, kalau PDA become quite early lah. They can become Asperger as early as maybe 17, 13, 14, 15 macam tu. Tapi kalau VSD slightly later, maybe dalam 18, 20. Kalau ASD, they can get Asperger kat ASD, tapi later lah, maybe 30, 40 years old, boleh become Asperger in ASD.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Any other questions? Last one. Mata kita start 11:30. 8 sampai 11:30.
Doctor, I have one question actually regarding TAPVR. So as you mentioned before that there's obstructive and then non-obstructive, and then the differentiation can also based on the level. My question would be that why in the cases of obstructive, the heart will appear to be small, but in the cases of a non-obstructive, the heart will be large. Nelson mentioned that the features can be seen on chest X-ray as such.
Okay, because in obstructive, the overload is at lung level. So you've got small heart, tapi plethoric lung. Okay, faham tak? Because the obstruction is actually at the inlet, inlet entry to the heart. So there's no loading in the heart, no overloading in the heart. It's overload dekat lung. So heart tak nampak besar lah. Tapi in non-obstructive, the loading is actually dekat heart because all four enter the heart. All four pulmonary vein enter the heart. Usually, tapi bukan at the left atrium, dia enter dekat right side. Kan, right atrium ataupun right ventricle. So dia akan overload ataupun dia enter dekat superior vena cava. So semua blood akan masuk ke heart. So heart yang akan jadi besar. So heart ni kan akan besar lah. Heart akan besar dulu. But after a while kalau dia tak buat apa-apa, biasa dia akan mati dulu lah. Tapi before dia mati, dia akan dapat start plethoric lah. Bila dia akan start ada pulmonary hypertension, then you akan start nampak ada plethoric of the lung. Tapi kalau obstructive, heart dia okay, cuma lung dia memang akan wet. Kalau non-obstructive, heart dia akan wet. Heart dia akan besar, cardiomegaly. Bahasa hypertrophic, dia bukan cardiomegaly, dia hypertrophic. Dia cardiomegaly, dia bukan hypertrophic. And then the lung dia plethoric, oligamic.
Doctor, how do we say that it's a cardiomegalic but not hypertrophic, doctor?
Okay, what's different?
I thought that hypertrophy involved the actual hypertrophy of the ventricular muscles, but I thought cardiomegaly is the
dilatation. Okay, cardiomegaly is dilatation of the wall. Okay, dilatation of the wall. Hypertrophic is trophic lah, thickening of the muscle. Kalau you buat echo, you akan nampak lah. The heart is thin wall tapi dilated. Okay, usually cardiomegaly is caused by volume overload. Tapi hypertrophy is caused by volume, usually more to pressure overload. Okay, so contoh kan, in ASD there's not much concern about the pressure in ASD because the atrium are low pressure chamber kan. So you don't have problem with the pressure, tapi you ada problem with the volume. Jadi double volume that enter the ventricles, enter the left ventricles. So enter the right ventricles. You ada double volume. So dia akan jadi dilated. Tapi kalau in VSD and PDA, these are high pressure tau, sebab high pressure of blood pass through the PDA and VSD. So they become hypertrophic. The left ventricle akan become hypertrophic. Usually when we say hypertrophic is the left ventricle lah, because only left ventricle je have the ability, have enough muscle to become hypertrophic. That's why in TGA, they become failure and they die very early because the right ventricle, despite they've got muscle, despite walaupun the right ventricle got muscle, but the muscle is not thick enough and not bulky enough to become hypertrophic. It's not strong enough to become hypertrophic to withstand the pressure. So it will become dilated and then fail. Okay, faham kan? So for example, macam patient with post-trap AGN, okay, hypertrophic emergency lah kan, hypertensive emergency, they will become cardiomegaly ke ataupun hypertrophy. Okay, initially they become cardiomegaly lah initially. So they will displace the apex beat. But later on they become hypertrophic. Okay. Because the ECG finding will be different now. ECG findings in cardiomegaly and ECG findings in hypertrophic LVH kan, they're different. Cardiomegaly will affect the conduction time. So it will stretch the QRS. QRS akan jadi white. Okay, sama macam white means macam white P, white QRS means the conduction takes more time to reach, to complete lah. The depolarization ataupun repolarization tu require more times because of the conduction is prolonged. Sebab because size dia larger. Tapi in hypertrophic, the amplitude will increase. So the R wave will increase, will become higher because the amplitude is higher. The stronger, there's a bulkier muscle that produce higher amplitude of conduction macam tu, of impulse. You faham kan? So you have to differentiate dilatation and also hypertrophy. It's different.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Say one last. Okay, ASD. In ASD, you have right side dilatation. Okay. So cardinal features of ASD when you do echo finding is right side dilatation in ASD, in PFO. Okay. But in VSD and PDA, it is left side hypertrophic. Left side dilatation initially, and neonatal period initially is dilatation, but then very soon after that they'll develop hypertrophy. Left ventricular hypertrophy first, and then later on right ventricle will become hypertrophic. Then they start to get the P pulmonale. P pulmonale, yes, P pulmonale, and they start to have increased pressure, pulmonary pressure. Okay, comment. Itu cukup. Ada question last ke? Tak ada stall.
But doctor, for example, in both cases of hypertrophy and dilatation, if you do chest X-ray, both of them shows cardiomegaly?
Tak. Cardiomegaly is a cardiomegaly lah. Hypertrophic not necessarily ada cardiomegaly. Faham tak? That's why contoh kan, baby yang lahir yang TOF kan. TOF, they don't have cardiomegaly, they have boot-shaped heart. Tapi it's not cardiomegaly. So dia ada hypertrophy of right ventricle. They don't have dilatation of right ventricle, they have hypertrophy of right ventricle. Sama any obstructive lesion kan, macam PS for example kan, PS, baby tu akan ada lahir boleh buat X-ray, dia tak ada cardiomegaly pun, tapi dia tak cardiomegaly in the sense of besar sangat tau. Dia akan ada lah besar sikit sebab hypertrophy kan, tapi dia tak besar macam cardiomegaly. So tapi kalau PS dia akan ada ventricle dia hypertrophic, right ventricle hypertrophic because dia ada obstruction dekat pulmonary valve. Sama macam AS kan, AS kalau orang ada AS dia tak ada cardiomegaly sebab cuma nampak besar sikit je. Tapi dia tak ada cardiomegaly sebab dia pressure kan, dia because of pressure, so dia ada hypertrophy. Tu. Usually patient cardiomegaly, kalau adult kan, cardiomegaly tu senang tengok patient heart failure lah, especially yang ischemic heart failure. Yang dos yang memang MI, post MI dapat heart failure. Yang tu memang very typical cardiomegaly lah. Sebab what happen is, the heart muscle become weak kan, kat ischemic. So dia dah mati, so at the end dia akan dilate lah. Dia macam getah, so dia dilate je. Dia tak jadi makin thicken, dia dilate. So patient with IHD kan, IHD and then develop heart failure, dekat massive cardiomegaly. Rather than patient yang ada hypertensive heart failure kan, hypertension causing the heart failure, they usually have not as big. I mean, the heart is not very big because initially the problem is hypertrophic. But later on, bila dah Sterling curve kan, dia dah kan ada Sterling law tu lah. So sampai satu level, dia dah reach dia punya maximum elasticity tu, dia akan jadi dilate. Waktu tu dia tak boleh compensate lah. Because heart failure ni, dia is a spectrum tau. It's a continuum. Dia bukannya heart failure. It's a continuum. Dia start dengan, dia ada proses before dia develop heart failure. That's why you cannot say, contoh you nampak budak ni ada heart failure. Nampak tachypneic, tachycardic, hepatomegaly, tapi buat X-ray tak ada cardiomegaly. You tak boleh kata budak ni ada heart failure. Then definitely this is not heart problem. Ni is something else yang cause dia punya breathless. Most likely lung problem lah. Because kalau dia nak ada heart failure, dia mesti ada cardiomegaly. Because if dia fail compensatory mechanism tu, baru dia akan jadi cardiomegaly, baru dia jadi heart failure. Selagi dia tak develop cardiomegaly, selagi dia boleh hypertrophic and dia boleh compensate, dia akan continue hypertrophic and dia tak akan cardiomegaly. Dan dia tak akan fail lah. Once dia cardiomegaly, means dia dah tak boleh compensate, dia akan fail. So heart failure mesti ada cardiomegaly. Okay. Macam tu je. Lebih detail tanya ni lah, dia Taufik lah, dia lagi pandai buat cardio ni. Okay lah kot. Okay lah. So esok kita jumpa insyaAllah. Okay lah. Any question you boleh tanya esok lah. Sambung. Okay, kita tanggung dengan tasbih kafarah. Nasratul As. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay, doktor.